Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the LaunchYU 2020 Accelerator Demo Day. We're so excited to share with you the progress that all our ventures have made over the past 4 months. And this past summer, the LaunchYU Accelerator program at York University selected 14 high potential technology-driven ventures to participate in our 4-month accelerator that focused on developing and launching their go-to-market strategies and the overall growth of the founders and the ventures themselves. Before we kick off, I do want to thank everyone for being, ask everyone to be patient with us tonight as we're dealing with different technology difficulties. Since this is our first time being virtual, sometimes we'll have different opportunities where we might have drop-offs, so please be patient with us. And we are very excited to show everyone the scale that everyone has grown over the past 2 weeks with the top 5 finalists. Now, to kick things off, I'm going to hand it over to Sarah Howe, our Assistant Vice President of Innovation and Research Partnerships, to say a few words.
Sorry, there's your first technical difficulty. Good evening, everyone. As David said, my name is Sarah Howe, and it is my absolute pleasure to lead the Innovation York team and specifically the entrepreneurship team that runs LaunchYU. Tonight is all about our entrepreneurs, their innovation, their creativity, and their perseverance. We have a fantastic lineup for you tonight, so I really hope by the end of the evening you're inspired and invigorated. I would like to begin today's event with a Indigenous land acknowledgement. Please join me in taking a moment. Although we are not all in the same location, we recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with territories upon which York University campuses are located that precede the establishment of York University. York acknowledges its presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. The area known as Takaronto has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat. It is now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This territory is the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. Thank you. Now, though, for those of you who don't know me, I have been a part of York University for a long time. And when I came here, there were very few programs that supported innovation and entrepreneurship. So it's been my honor to be a part of the growth here at York University. We now have more than 50 curricular and co-curricular offerings. They span many different sectors, many different stages of growth, and are offered in both French and English. This year has obviously brought unprecedented challenges, and I'm so proud to be a part of York University. As a community, we've shown great strength and resilience in responding to and continuing to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's that willingness to adapt, to try new things, to be innovative that demonstrates what an entrepreneurial institution York really is. And this is something that we're going to see here tonight from our entrepreneurs. Passion, drive, resiliency. I always say that entrepreneurship is all about bravery, but entrepreneurship in a pandemic is beyond brave. So congratulations to all of you. You all amaze me and inspire me. I would now like to welcome Dr. Amir Rasheed, our Vice President of Research and Innovation, to provide some remarks.
Merci beaucoup, Sarah. Bonjour et bienvenue. Good evening, everyone. As Sarah just introduced me, my name is Amir Rasheed, and I'm the Vice President, Research and Innovation at York University. It is indeed my pleasure to join you today. I'm extremely happy to celebrate entrepreneurship and to send my good wishes for this very special annual event, the LaunchYU Demo Day, where we will also present the Aird Berlis StartupSource Market Entry Award sponsored by Aird Berlis. This event is special because it showcases the best of the best companies that have either launched or are launching in the market in the next few months. The event is a culmination of all of the hard work that the LaunchYU cohort has invested. York University and my Office of the Vice President Research and Innovation are deeply committed to innovation at York. Innovation is our tradition. We combine groundbreaking scholarship, discovery, and artistic creation with renowned strengths in community engaged and industry partnered research for maximum social and economic impact. We're specifically committed to the development of productive commercial research partnerships with industry and the promotion and support of startup companies and entrepreneurship. Under the able leadership of Sarah Howe, Innovation York has successfully provided a focal point for engagement for the York community, for industrial engagement, knowledge mobilization, commercialization, and entrepreneurship. Innovation York provides a vital entry point into a complex innovation ecosystem for York researchers, students, and the community at large. Innovation York has had a stellar year, sporting 165 plus startup ventures. Those ventures have raised over $11 million in funding, generated 8.5 million plus in revenue, and created 167 plus jobs. Innovation York also reviewed 401 agreements worth nearly $31 million, created relationships with 230 industry and community partners, and provided knowledge mobilization and commercialization support to more than 70 grants. Innovation York traditionally supported more than 36 commercialization projects, filed 15 new patent applications, and executed 4 new licenses. LaunchYU is a key component in this remarkable success story. David Kwok, Associate Director of Entrepreneurship at Innovation York, oversees LaunchYU, among other things, and he has done an exceptional job. Thank you, David. The quality and diversity of ventures in the program are truly outstanding. The caliber of ventures in this program continues an upward trajectory, and we expect this will continue in the years to come. This program has clearly captured many imaginations, is gathering momentum. In closing, I'd like to emphasize that research and innovation and the meaningful translation of the related results are key to the success of York University as a research-intensive institution. Once again, I'm very happy to celebrate entrepreneurship at York University and wish everyone in the LaunchYU program good luck with the future endeavors. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much, Amir. We're so excited for what's about to happen tonight and all the amazing companies that we have. On behalf of the team, along with Diana and Mick, we're so thankful to have worked with our companies this past summer. And during this time, we've seen them change so much as we shifted our entire program online, and we couldn't be more proud of the companies that we work with. Right now, I really want to quickly recognize the 9 ventures that isn't presenting tonight, but they've made significant progress throughout the past 4 months, and I think they deserve some recognition as well. So the other 9 companies that we have that isn't able to present tonight are Backer, DataLens, IndieTech, Live Insights, Muse, Requity Homes, SkyGrid, SoftDrive, and Vital Home Care. If you want to learn more about them, please visit our website. All their bios are on our website, and we're happy to connect you to them as well, and so you can get to know the founders a little bit better and get to know them a little bit better. As for today, we're excited to announce our top 5 ventures. We had an esteemed panel of judges help us select 5 out of the 14 ventures to showcase today. And the top 5 ventures are Flourish, Gopir, Lactiga, Coherent, and Spot App. And today, the format that we'll be going through is that each venture will have 5 minutes to pitch, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A from our judges. And joining us today I'm going to just ask each of the judges to bring on their camera as I say her name. Snitha Basara, the investment manager for Mars IAF, a leading early stage venture capital fund and stand-up ventures, an early stage venture capital fund investing in companies led or co-led by women. Susan Sim is currently a digital specialist with McKinsey & Company, and prior to that, she led a variety of corporations through their digital transformations to build new businesses in health and other industries. And lastly, Altea Wishloff is a pre-seed and seed stage investor for Panache Ventures. Prior to Panache, Altea worked in banking, fintech, and civic tech. Now, I would also like to ask our judges our mentors to bring on their cameras so they can join me on stage and just give them a quick thank you as well for spending those countless hours in helping our ventures grow over the past 4 months. I know some of them aren't here today, but the ones that are, if you can just wave and say hi. Our mentors are Elliott Atkins, Ehsan, Kate Grant, Keith Ha, Russ Armstrong, and Umar Malik, and Navin as well. So lastly, I just want to say a big thank you to our title sponsors, Aird Berlis and Randy, Graham, and Tony for all of your support over the past couple of years and your generous sponsorship and donation and time to the companies and helping them prepare for this big day. Now, to get the night started, I just want to make sure that everyone stays engaged. If you have questions, please submit it. We will be using that as an opportunity to ask questions to our startups later on, and they will have a chance to answer your questions later on in the evening. So the next one that we're going to bring on right now is going to be Kate, and Kate is going to introduce the venture that she mentored for the past 4 months, Gopir.
Hi, everyone. It is so great to see so many familiar faces here. For those of you that I don't know, my name is Kate Grant, and I have worked within the fintech ecosystem for many, many years now. And when David and the team at York reached out and said, do you want to mentor a company called Gopir? They're in the P2P lending space. I jumped at the chance. So when I first met Mark and Joseph, I met two individuals that really had passion and drive and the willingness to change the peer-to-peer lending landscape. I often joke and say fintech is for the brave. You really need to be able to tackle long sales cycles, lots of regulation, and be able to create products that are changing the face of the banking industry who really may or may not be ready for it. After spending some more weeks with this team, it was really clear to me that they were going to quickly take this industry by storm. And we worked together as they really built and launched their product. And to date, they have seen some tremendous success. It's been such a pleasure to work with this team and to really watch them win and grow. Today, I'm very excited for you all to meet Gopir and to meet Mark, the founder. Their vision is amazing, and hopefully some of you will also help them build the future of lending. Mark, over to you.
Thank you, Kate, for such a great intro. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Gopir, a financial wellness company that makes responsible lending accessible to everyone. There's an accessibility gap in the personal finance space in Canada, where if you don't qualify for a bank loan, like Matt here, he's currently paying 35% interest rate annually on his personal loan. While on the other hand, individual investors like Jess that want to build a diversified investment portfolio are faced with limited options outside of stocks. So I'm introducing Gopir, Canada's first regulated consumer loans marketplace, where we connect everyday, ordinary Canadians looking to borrow with Canadians looking to invest. And we help 9 million Canadians in a situation similar to that access capital at reasonable interest rates. On the other hand, we're empowering everyday investors like Jess, who's a non-accredited investor, to enter the fixed income market. Matt loves our product because we're helping him pay back his debt faster by saving $100 per month after refinancing his debt to Gopir. While Jess earns 11.7% annual return, she loves investing through Gopir because it's a simple investment product that she understands. The platform is easy to use and very intuitive. From our website, it takes a few minutes to open up an account. And here you can see the investor dashboard with all the loans currently being listed. I took the screenshot this morning, and the one that's shown up here in detail, that's Matt's listing, where you can see that he earns $100,000 a year. He's a secondary school teacher renting an apartment in London, Ontario, and has a credit score in the mid 600. He's on Gopir to refinance a $10,000 loan. Gopir has two primary revenue streams. On one hand, we charge an origination fee that's up to 5% of the loan amount and is paid for by the borrowers, deducted from the proceeds of the loan. When annualized over the life of the loan, it adds about 1 to 2% to the APR. On the other hand, we're charging a 1.5 servicing fee to investors that is deducted from the loan's repayments. The market in Canada is massive. There's $541 billion in Canadian consumer credit outstanding, excluding mortgages, and we're primarily focused on the near-prime segment. That's consumers with credit scores between 640 and 720, and represents a $145 billion market. We've just launched our product on September 1st and so far have received $150,000 in annualized revenue. We have an aggressive growth playbook and intend to achieve $10 million in revenue by the end of year 3. To go there, we'll need to issue $200 million of loans, which is less than 0.1% of the market. Traditional lenders need to borrow funds first in order to issue loans on the other hand, while Gopir directly connects borrowers with lenders. Our low-cost structure enables us to offer better rates to borrower while offering appropriate returns to the investors for the risk that they're taking. There are significant legal barriers to accessing retail investors' capital, and we have access. Gopir is also able to deliver on the speed and convenience that consumers want and that banks have failed to deliver. Over the last year, we've received regulatory approval across Canada. We've launched on September 1st, and over the last 3 weeks, we received over 400 borrower loan applications, $500,000 of which are currently being listed on the platform or is already fully funded. And we've opened 650 investor accounts, representing $375,000 in funds currently received on the platform in only 3 weeks. Imagine what we can do in 12 months. Our journey began in 2019, and over the next few years, we're focused on growing the platform, automating our processes, and raising the capital that we need for our growth. We also keep an eye open for international expansion in the future. We have the right team to bring this to market. I have a background in investment banking and finance, whereas my co-founder Joseph brings in 2 decades of experience as a seasoned technology executive and previous experience in the data security and payment space. Chris brings in performance marketing experience from Lightspeed. Connor's a world-class senior full-stack developer, and Chloe, well, she cheers us up every day. Today, we're asking for $2 million seed round in preferred shares, where we'll use the proceeds to further build our technology, grow our marketing efforts, and build a sales pipeline, as well as develop our product. We're looking for a long-term partner that can bring strategic partnerships to the table, advisory, and experience in fintech. I want to bring you back to Matt and Jess. So our objective is to help Matt get out of debt faster so that one day he can eventually become an investor and help others do the same. Winning today's presentation or the demo day will be a huge step in the right direction for Gopir, where the prize will help us execute on our vision of financial wellness. And as a fintech, Gopir relies heavily on trust, and winning this competition would be a great validation from respected members of the startup community. Thank you for taking the time today. We are Gopir.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was great. Now I'm going to welcome our judges back on screen again so they can ask their questions. And this time, the first person that's going to ask their question is Altea.
Hey, Marc-Antoine, great job. Thank you so much. Okay, my first question, I want to focus a little bit on the value proposition for the lenders. So if you think about kind of fintech stories here in Toronto and abroad, you know, if you start off with one financial product, the goal eventually is to get a bigger share of your wallet. So if you think about the lenders themselves, through Gopir, they're only able to access one type of investment. And so versus if they go to TD or to a Wealth Simple, they're able to get a more diversified portfolio. So the challenge there is that they're probably, if they go with Gopir, they're going to be on Gopir as well as a number of other fintechs. So how do you think about getting more of that share of wallet from the investment perspective and expanding into other asset classes?
Yes, absolutely. Really good question. So for the next year or so, we're currently focused from an investor's perspective solely on offering our current asset class. However, we're working and intend to bring on strategic partnerships in the future with registered investment advisors and other platforms that would enable us to offer our product and our asset class through their distribution channels.
Cool, thank you. I've got one more question actually.
Yep, if I can. Go for it.
So my question is how do you think about defensibility long-term?
Absolutely. So, well, there's a major legal barrier to entry, and that's from the primary reason why there hasn't been any player in the consumer loan peer-to-peer lending space for the last 15 years in Canada. That said, now that we're in this space, we're very aware that it creates a precedent and makes it, well, it creates a precedent for other companies to copy us. So we're focusing on the brand and customer support. We think that outstanding customer service is where we can differentiate ourselves and build a moat. We have outstanding 5 stars reviews on Google, and this is our priority.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll take the next one. I'm going to go to Susan.
Hi, Mark. Can you flip back to your roadmap?
Yes, of course.
I just want to dig into a little bit because this went by fast.
There's a lot of information there.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm interested in how you're going to scale. So if you want to kind of go back and do that in slow motion for me.
Yes, so over the next year, we're mostly focused on our current products and optimizing and automating our processes. We're also looking to onboard institutional investors. We know there is a lot of interest from family offices, small hedge fund focused on credit products, and other high yield debt investors. That's going to be our focus for the next year, as well as raising our seed round. And then we intend to build advanced analytics that we're currently collecting a wealth of data from various sources. And we intend to build advanced analytics that will help us with originating loans, servicing loans, and collecting loans. We also plan to include third-party originators and funders, which will help us propel our growth. And pre-funded loan that's, we also intend to add pre-funded loans, which will allow us to offer the loan to the borrowers same day or instantly. And then finally, in 2023, we'll be looking to opening up to international markets.
So it looks like you're, in my mind, and I'm trying to put this together with what I see on the screen, part of your mission will be increasing the participants in your two-sided marketplace, right? So you want lenders and you want borrowers. So that's got to be part of this as well. And another piece is going to be diversifying the kinds of loans that you can do. And what I see is pretty clear about in terms of diversifying, but I don't see as much in terms of increasing the number of participants. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah, well, so that's part of our growth playbook. I didn't put it in there, but obviously we have two sort of big lines. One is the retail side and one is the institution, or what we call third-party originator side. So we currently focused on growing the retail side, and we've been having a lot of success with retail investors in the 3 weeks that we've been live. Was that your question?
Kind of like, so you've been on for 3 weeks and you've got really good numbers. How do you plan to continue that?
Oh, well, we have a strategic growth playbook. Our primary traction channels right now are through online channels, and it's working fairly well. We also want to build a sales process to bring in more, to bring a different type of investors. We also want to work with third-party lenders and use them as origination platforms, lenders or affiliates, and other, like, think of Borrowell, Loans Canada, or other online platforms.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Susan. And last but not least, we're going to go Sneetha.
Thanks, David. My primary questions were kind of on down the path that we were headed with Susan here, is diving into more of that go-to-market strategy, and then thoughts on how do you continue to manage the CAC to LTV ratio. The CAC is a customer acquisition cost, so how much does it cost you to get somebody on the platform on both sides? And then the LTV is that lifetime value of that customer as well.
Yes, absolutely. So our current numbers, since we were live, our CAC for borrowers is about $150, and the LTV is about $750 right now, while the CAC for investors is about $65, and the LTV is about $300.
Awesome. And where do you, if you were in optimal state, once you've optimized, where would you like that to be closer to?
That's a good question. We had a lot of assumptions that were completely destroyed when we launched, and we're right now. I don't have this data live. We're waiting to close the month and see to rebuild all our assumptions on that front.
Okay, fair. And well, I guess while I have a bit more time, and David, you'll
go ahead.
give me the hook when it's ready. On the site that on the visual that you showed us, you gave us the individuals and personal information. So assuming that that wouldn't be generally the case for the lenders, like they wouldn't see who they're lending money to or have any of that line of sight there, right?
No, they do. So what you saw is exactly what you would see if you open up an investor account today.
Are there not concerns with sharing that private information?
So it's completely anonymous. You don't know who you're lending to, you don't know their identity, but you'll have access to all the data that we think is necessary for you to take a good or informed investment decision. So for now, it's mostly like credit score within a range, income, job, debt to income ratio, and other credit related information.
Oh, okay, fair. I thought there was more information than that was available on the person. And then maybe the last question is, looking at the landscape of those that could be your target customers, how do you go about getting the first borrowers on board? Like, what's that ideal customer profile there?
For us, sort of going forward, are the borrowers that we currently have on the platform?
Either or.
Yeah, so we're focused on the near prime segment, and onwards are the lowest credit score that you can have to be eligible to borrow on Gopir is 600, but we're focused more on around 700. So far, most of the borrowers that we have been successful with, that we have approved, were entrepreneurs or like Uber drivers, people with other jobs on the side. There's some criminal lawyers as well working like working for themselves. That we've been very successful attracting this type of borrower. And there's also another category that I would say that don't have a perfect credit history. That say, in the example of Matt, for example, he had a bankruptcy about 5 years ago following a divorce, and he has been unable to get bank financing since. He has a credit card and a loan with one of the leading non-bank lender in the country that he's been paying very well for the last 4 years. And for him, it was a great opportunity to refinance through Gopir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, judges. Thank you, Mark. That was great. Next up, I'm gonna ask Umar to come on screen and introduce the venture that he has been mentoring, Lactiga.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. As this is my first year as a mentor with LaunchYU, I feel extremely fortunate to have been paired with a venture as hardworking, collaborative, and passionate about change as Lactiga. The bar has been set very high for next year. While Viraj is going to talk to you about his scientific efforts, the vision for Lactiga actually came from his becoming a parent. So this venture is inspired by his daughter. In Canada, we want our ventures to think big. And Lactiga has already completed research with hospitals in Toronto and New York City, and they've created totally new supply relationships in Canada, the US, and the UK. They accomplished this without receiving a single dollar of outside capital, which tells you something about Viraj's trustworthiness. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce the founder and chief scientific officer of Lactiga, my friend, Viraj Mane.
Thank you so much, Omar. Good evening, my friends. Today I'm going to tell you how we are changing the treatment paradigm for immunocompromised and immunodeficient people all around the world. But before I illustrate the disorders, let's advance the slide. Before I illustrate the disorders, let me introduce Janelle. So you can see on the top that she has a primary immunodeficiency, or PID. That means she's always vulnerable to infection. There are few treatments available, and they're typically given in the hospital. So she's got to be in and out of hospitals at least once a month for the rest of her life. Even if she does all of that, she's still vulnerable to recurring infections in mucosal spaces, meaning the airways, lungs, and gut. But now let's zoom way out from Janelle and look at the right side and recognize that this is a global issue that afflicts tens of millions of people around the world. Because they all have to access these hospitals and invasive procedures and expensive drugs, this is a very costly reality. And many of these immunodeficiencies are orphan or rare diseases, so there are no dedicated therapeutics available. Well, that's where we come in. Our solution is a needle-free, non-invasive treatment. It leverages our issued patent on extraction methods for breast milk antibodies that delivers those antibodies right where they're needed in a way that's easy to do at home and applies to these tens of millions of patients around the world. Now, I know you're thinking, why breast milk? It's weird, I get it. But the reason is because it's chock full of disease-fighting antibodies. And you can see on the bottom left that our patent covers the extraction process to recover these antibodies from donated human breast milk. What's more, over 100 million moms will breastfeed this year. Many of them produce extra that they donate to a global network of over 700 milk banks, each of which discards up to 15% of its supply. So their waste is our opportunity. Now, in comparison to the existing medications, we avoid blood products, we uniquely deliver IgA antibodies directly to mucosal compartments, and we do it conveniently and non-invasively. Now, there are many different use cases for our core technology, focused originally on the primary immunodeficiencies, as I told you on the left, but there is much, much more. Now, in the middle, you can see we also have applications for seasonal cold and flu, which obviously affects people around the world. And that's because we show 85% neutralization of respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, one of the most frequent causes of the common cold. And that's a study we did with Sick Kids Hospital right here in Toronto. But there's even more than that. We also generated a COVID-19 data set, which shows total neutralization of the spike protein of the novel coronavirus. And these data were generated by our research partners at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. Those efforts just earned us a joint NIH grant. And I do have the figures for these available in the Q&A. Now, in addition to the antiviral potency I just showed you, we've also built an international supply chain covering the domains you can see here. We've initiated our regulatory roadmap. On the milk side, we have secured 4 signed letters of support, guaranteeing our access in 3 different countries. We have an antibody formulations partner, and we even have a pharmaceutical storage and distribution logistics partner that can service multiple countries. And I just want to emphasize the point Omar made, that everything you've seen, we have accomplished with $0 of outside investment. We're therefore pursuing a very large opportunity where we benefit from scale because we are repurposing our core biologics technology for multiple clinical indications that affect tens of millions of people around the world. Even taking a small early adopter slice presents us with a $10 billion revenue opportunity. We also benefit from our competitive moat that includes our issued patent and trademarks, multiple additional patents pending, and a 12-year FDA-enforced market exclusivity upon clinical approval. And here's a good time to segue into the company milestones that actually get us to that market approval. And that's what we see here. In our historic couple years, you can see our achievements in partnerships, patents, and preclinical data. You can see earlier this year, we engaged the FDA to expedite our regulatory pathway. And you can see in the near future how we start pivoting to those first-in-human clinical trials. You can also appreciate in green how we begin to recognize licensing revenues and subsequent financings in blue. Our team has a very deep stack of credentials. My R&D expertise is very well complemented by my co-founder, Ricken, who brings regulatory affairs expertise, having come from the FDA and a lead role at Pfizer. In the middle, you see our medical and operations advisors, and on the bottom, you see our key opinion leaders, who are the very top executives of North America's largest patient advocacy foundations. We're currently closing our lead investor and continuing to fill our seed round of 1.6 million Canadian in convertible notes to give us an 18-month runway. As I said, we are changing the treatment paradigm for vulnerable immunodeficient patients of all ages all around the world. Earning tonight's award helps us refocus back on that life-saving research 6 days from now, not 6 months from now. We look forward to your support. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raj. And once again, I'm just going to ask the judges to come on screen to ask their questions. And first, we're going to go to Sneetha.
Hi, Raj. Thanks for the presentation. Great to see what you've developed and the traction that you've had. What I'm curious about is, once the FDA approval is achieved, where do you go from here? Like, does this become a platform for therapeutic to be deployed, or is this a product that you'll be taking to market? I saw on the screen a couple of different product types. There was the puffer or the inhaler type. There was the pill bottle as well. So just what's the end objective? Where do you get to?
Yeah, platform is definitely the right word, and this supplementary figure helps make that point. So these are multiple diseases that we believe make sense for, as you said, some would be puffers, some could be simple tablets. You see, I've broken them into tiers 1 through 3 based on how close of a match the disease mechanism is to our therapy. So tier 1, these are immunodeficiencies that make the most sense, and we'll be pursuing them first. But as we expand to these other applications, we can make modifications to the way the inhaler device works or the way the tablet is dosed. And that allows us to position the same core ingredient, which is the core biologic technology, into all of these different disease applications.
Okay, awesome. And then the second question is just there's the raw material component, right? Like there is a finite number of raw materials. So does that become a clog in the supply chain, or are you able to take a little and make a lot of as a result of it? So tell us how you're able to leverage that.
Yeah, and I think you're referring to basically the milk acquisition stage, since that's the upstream part of the process.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great question. So you can see on this slide that we have 4 letters of support representing access in the US, Canada, and the UK. So some of those are from milk banks. And remember, there are 700 milk banks around the world. So we're not anywhere close to saturating our supply. In addition, we've also earned a letter of support from a NICU, actually here in Ontario. So NICUs are other potential sources, and there are tens of thousands of hospitals with NICUs around the world. So given that we have 4 letters of support, that already converts to a hypothetical ability to treat tens of thousands of patients, we have no risk of running out of supply.
Thanks, Viraj. I'll pass it on to one of the other judges.
Awesome. Next up, we're going to ask Susan to ask her questions.
Sure. Hi, Viraj. So I'm interested in kind of like the pathway from milk to puffer. Can you do a thumbnail sketch of what you have to do to get from point A to point B?
Yeah, it's a great question. I didn't have time to dig much into the technology, but it's actually pretty straightforward. So our issued patent covers some of the core technologies of starting with a breast milk sample, performing an extraction, basically doing a secondary and tertiary extraction, characterizing those products, and then being able to show the antiviral potency, which are some of the figures I showed today. So they're actually a pretty successive series of biochemical steps that are covered by our patent. As we move past the extraction phase and we have the antibodies we need, the second phase is to put it into the delivery device. Sometimes that's going to be a puffer or an inhaler device for respiratory treatments, and sometimes they will be oral formulations for gastrointestinal infections. If you've ever heard of the pharmaceutical formulations chemistry industry, these are people that can basically take your ingredient and put it into whatever final form is dictated by the realities of the disease. So on the supply chain slide, I listed a formulations partner. They're called Catalent. They're actually a global contract manufacturing organization with decades of expertise in both respiratory and oral solutions. So for us to hand over basically the intermediary product to a partner like that, they can then formulate it into the final product that would be prescribed by physicians to patients.
So what's the shelf life of both your active ingredients and the final, say, the inhaler?
Yeah, I love this question. I didn't talk about thermostability. That's something else we tested, and that is in our patent. So thermostability meaning room temperature stable. For something meant for broad distribution, which is how we intend this, you really want to move away from freezer or refrigerator requirements, because under-resourced regions actually don't have those. For that reason, we did test thermostability. We've only done early testing, preliminary testing, but when we looked at 2 weeks at room temperature of our product, there was no drop-off in quality. So that's a very encouraging first look at what the thermostability profile might be. As we extend that study, if we determine that there is a drop-off in quality, we can then start working with one of our partners who actually has a thermal stabilizer designed for products like this.
Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, and last we're gonna go to Altea.
Hey Viraj, nice to see you. First off, I think Lactiga is the coolest. Just as a woman, I think it's the absolute coolest. So congratulations on the pitch. Congratulations on the progress made so far. Really high level question. It sounds like I look at Lactiga as scientific risk and engineering risk. And it seems like you've de-risked kind of both components. As you march towards kind of series A and B, What's keeping you up at night, and where do you see the most risk with this business?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of activities that will, very practically speaking, be out of our domain of expertise. And although I didn't talk about it, we view ourselves as a preclinical validating team that can do all the early lab scale studies that then justify advancement by medium to large size pharmaceutical partners. So there's going to be a bit of a handoff. And those are very lucrative licensing arrangements, as I showed in one of my slides that you can appreciate. Those are very large multi-million-dollar transactions. So what we need to do to make those transactions work and for those partners to have everything they need to push this all the way to clinical approval is to really perform very robust preclinical validation. What we're doing, which is fairly unusual for a biotech team, is to actually outsource this to highly qualified partners. I mean, you heard me mention SickKids, Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. We have many other discussions on the go. These are very trusted partners that we know can deliver us back the data sets that then have the kind of cachet and credibility that we can then start opening discussions with pharmaceutical partners. So to your question about what's keeping me up, it's really the funds and the funds to initiate and execute our preclinical studies, the parts of this vision that are in our domain, so that we can do that handoff and then allow the commercialization partners to leverage the scale that they already have.
Got it. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. We have about 3 minutes left. So any last questions from the judges? Are we good to move on? Okay, so I will take the silence as we are good to move on. So thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to use the 3 minutes since we have it. So I'm going to connect a bunch of dots together and ask you kind of a what if question. So one of the things you talked about was it was good for cold and flu, right? So it improves my immune system and maybe my immune, some protection against that. How likely, how possible would it be for this to be a viable treatment for the general public, to someone who's not immune compromised for cold and flu? And if it is a viable issue or viable product, then what are the implications for your breast milk supply?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think you're getting at, what if this wasn't a clinical product, but just a general health immune supplement? Am I understanding correctly?
Sure.
Yeah, and we actually thought of that as our business model originally, to go the consumer route, which I think this audience can appreciate. The go-to-market time and the capital required is much less to build out a consumer product. And so we thought long and hard about that. In terms of our own credentials and the ultimate market opportunity and the actual impact it would have on beneficiaries, focusing on the clinical applications for immunodeficient patients was way more meaningful. And that's just more on the personal side. But then on the practical side, we learned from really having to build our own playbook of how to engage and understand the pain points of milk bank directors and the mothers that they serve. We learned through those discussions that it would have been a non-starter to tell moms that, by the way, we're going to make money off this supplement, this high-priced, immune supplement. That wouldn't have been something they would really consent to or be interested in. But the message we opened with, which is that there are highly vulnerable people around the world, we can derive this spare supply into a clinical therapy, which is a prescription product. That is a message that we're on board with. And so we really couldn't have done it the other way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Viraj. That was great. We're just going to bring on our next mentor now. So I'm going to ask Navin to come on screen and introduce the venture that he had mentored, Coherent.
Good evening, everyone. Naveen Kamanulu. This is my third time being a mentor for LaunchYU. And I would say that every time that I've been fortunate enough to mentor exciting companies and also mentor the companies that usually end up winning. So hopefully I'll be batting 3 for 3 after this. So let me first start off by speaking a little bit about Ash. So lots of words can be described to use an entrepreneur, such as hardworking, hustling, coming up with crazy ideas. And with Ash, he actually embodies all of these. His company, Coherent, is more than an idea. It's the result of Ash's education and experience, and it's the way of the future. In the last 4 months, Ash has won 100K from Startup Fest, built significant inbound momentum, and advanced his product to submit a pre-qualified 7-figure proposal to the Canadian government. Coherent, in a nutshell, will give humans the much-needed capability to solve wireless spectrum problems using quantum computing. I'm delighted to introduce Ash Begi, founder and CEO of Coherent.
Thank you, Navin. Hi there, my name is Ash. I'm the founder and CEO of Coherent. And at Coherent, we're accelerating human connectivity by building the intelligent radio technologies that will be the future of wireless communications. Wireless is important to our present and to our future. Today, we rely on GPS, mobile devices, and radar as critical infrastructure. But tomorrow, we look forward to industrial IoT, smart cities, and self-driving cars. But many of these things can only exist because of wireless. Demand pushes wireless forward, which results in the creation of new wireless technologies. And we've all seen this. The next generation of Wi-Fi always seems to be coming out. This puts pressure on spectrum, which is the finite resource that wireless relies on to work. As the number of connected devices increases exponentially, spectrum can't keep up with the demand. And the human design techniques that we rely on today are limited in what they can do. The industry knows this, which is why they invest $56 billion per year in software-defined radio technologies. Software-defined radio is a type of technology where all the functions of a communication system are implemented in software instead of on circuitry. And now the industry is looking to AI on SDR. To understand why, intelligent radios can overcome the limitations of human design protocols. Imagine radio systems that can learn to automatically recognize spectral activity, autonomously connect with each other, adapt to different protocols. And when all radios can do this, they can actually collaborate to maximize the use of spectrum. But applying AI to a communication system is an engineering challenge, and this is where Coherent comes in. Coherent is an engineering tools provider. We provide engineers with the tools to deploy AI to different kinds of wireless problems. It starts with our software, where our customers work with our tools to create machine learning models for different kinds of wireless problems, extracting information out of waveforms. We also provide models and semi-custom IP that gets deployed to configurable deployment hardware. Together, these three things form the building blocks of an intelligent radio system. And we've spoken to companies all across the ecosystem to identify high-value problems and to validate the need. Our customers invest significant amount of capital into wireless R&D every year, and they've given us use cases where we work with them to extract information out of waveforms and feed them into tasks that they already have. Our goal with doing this is to provide our customers with an end-to-end platform. And once we have an end-to-end platform, we'll become an integral part of the industry. We'll have opportunities to work with all sorts of market players as the value chain forms. We have a plan for deploying our technology to the full life cycle of this technology. We're currently building the market with the early adopters and the visionaries, but our approach is suited to the mainstream market as well, where the potential for value creation is significant. The $4.5 billion in lifetime values that are shown here are only a conservative estimate of what would be available to Coherent if we were to succeed with making a limited number of long-term partnerships. Our customers trust us because we're domain experts in wireless and because we can bring machine learning theory to reality. We have a unique mix of what it takes on the team to create robust solutions to a complex problem. We're a very ambitious team, and we hope to become a large-scale, high-tech employer in Canada. And now we're ready to grow. After this summer, we have produced a number of MVP platform components that will go into our software suite. We've actually progressed with our anchor customers and submitted a proposal for a multi-million-dollar deal with one of them. And we've spoken to our second round of customers as well, identifying and conversing with who we want to approach when we're ready for them. And on top of all that, we have had community support. We're a top 5 finalist in LaunchYU, and we won Startup Fest this year. So that leads me to the next steps for Coherent. We're presenting an investment opportunity. The capital we raise will go towards our platform development and our customer development. Our goals are to increase the technology readiness of our platform, secure some IP, and to add one more high-paying customer. I'd like to conclude by reminding you that Coherent is building the future of wireless. The way we design wireless technologies today can't keep up with the volume of devices coming online, and the industry is looking to AI to overcome this. Coherent wants to provide the industry with a platform to design and deploy machine learning models to wireless systems design. And with that, I'd like to conclude and thank you for your time and the opportunity to present.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ash. And again, I'm just going to ask the judges to come back online. And the first person we're going to go to for questions is going to be Altea.
Hey, Ash. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Good to see you, Altea.
first question I have is because you and I had talked about this previously. In one of your slides, you were talking about the different customer categories, one of them being corporates and then the other being governments. So do you mind just talking a little bit more about the use case and the ROI for the government piece?
Yeah, so there's different entities and different governments that have different applications that they're working on. So there could be telecom regulatory related things. There could be traffic management around like emergency services, things like that. There's radar, there's various military communications applications. The list is actually endless. Like the government is one of the biggest users of RF spectrum in any country. And so just like that category alone is very ripe with opportunities.
Follow-up question to that, if I may, is both within the corporate and the government application, where, like which budget does a tool like Coherent fit into?
That's a good question. In the side of corporations and companies, they invest a certain amount every year into dealing with 5 years out, 10 years out problems. They invest like significant amounts of money, like tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to basically test out different kinds of protocols and technologies that will end up going into their roadmaps. So that's where it would be on the corporate side. On the government side, they have it's usually very specific and they know exactly where it's coming from. And it depends on the use case. Like, you know, the military is different than the CRTC. That's going to be very different than, say, like intelligence agencies, which is going to be different from policing agencies. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities there.
Got it. Thank you. Congrats on the progress.
Thank you.
Awesome. Next, we're going to go to Susan.
Hi, Ash. I want to make sure I understand what it is your product does. The assertion is that we're going to run out of radio bandwidth because we're adding more and more devices. And so your innovation is something to allow these software-defined radios to kind of hop bandwidth, to go see where there's a piece of bandwidth not currently being used and use that particular band. Is that right?
So that's the moonshot use case.
Okay.
Our current customers, like our present opportunities, are a little bit different than that. But yes, that is essentially the goal, is to give software-defined radios the ability to collaborate autonomously and come up with their own protocols.
Okay. So what are your current customers purchasing? What are they trying to do?
Currently, we are providing them with machine learning models that's based on a use case that they have.
Yeah.
They are purchasing software development tools to design, deploy, and maintain those models because data goes stale and you need to get new data and train models on new data. Eventually, and this isn't like, you know, today, but they'll be buying appliances to deploy those models to. And so together, that's the platform that you would be building a full intelligent radio system off of.
And so, so they would be trying to figure out what bandwidth to use for their particular set of machines, and they would refresh these models from time to time. And based on that, it would be relatively stable in terms of what bandwidth they're using? Or
again, it depends on the application.
Okay.
We're providing a set of tools so that they can focus on their application. And yeah, we're providing like the generalized capability to deploy this technology to the specific use cases that they have. And those use cases really differ.
Okay. So your breakthrough is the application of these machine learning to these software-defined radios.
I wouldn't necessarily call it our breakthrough. It is a trend that's happening in the industry.
Okay.
Our particular breakthrough, which I didn't really speak too much about, is that we're abstracting away heterogeneous computing and making it available to this. But that's a second meeting conversation.
Okay. So I guess in the moonshot scenario, I'll ask about that. Okay. And David, you cut me off if I'm taking up too much time.
Maybe last question and then we move on.
Okay. How much does that rely on everyone using this protocol to select the radio band that they're using?
That's not what we're banking on. And what I'm banking on, I probably won't talk about in a public setting.
Okay.
And smart, probably not live either. But last, we're going to go with Sunitha for her questions.
I'll be quick, and then if we have time, we'll give that back to Susan over there. Talk to me about the revenue model. So is it a SaaS model? Is it a project-based fee that your customers are currently paying you on? How does it currently work?
So what we're working towards is the technical term for it is called modified off the shelf. So it's you would have components of a system that you pull from that you already have, and that would be 80% of what you're providing. And then the final 20% is a customization layer that that you provide to the customer. And so that's the core of what we're providing. And that's like, even with our engagements right now, that's essentially what we're working towards. But beyond that, there's going to be additional opportunities for revenue, both in terms of data sets, data management tools, software development tools. And so SaaS might play as part of it, but it's not like necessarily SaaS. It's a tool in the toolkit that we're providing.
Or maybe just a follow-up there is whenever I hear customization, scalability becomes a question. So talk to me about how that works on your side.
Yeah, well, so let me describe an entire industry. So there are over 100 companies worldwide that make over $1 billion a year on exactly this structure. And that's the defense industry. And they are scalable. They are massive. And so that's just to paint a picture, like that's like they use this customization as more of a moat as opposed to something that prevents them from scaling and getting a mass market. So the scale is definitely there, and worldwide we're all users of Spectrum. I mean, I myself have like 7 radios around me when you include my phone, my laptop, and my smartwatch.
Awesome. David, just give us a quick time check-in, maybe.
Yeah,
chance to hop in.
That's going to be all the time we have, unfortunately. Susan, I would invite you to connect with Ash afterwards, get a deep dive going there, and get really deep into the conversation, because it looks like there was some good stuff coming out of there. So thank you so much, Ash. Thank you so much, judges. Now I'm just going to ask Elliott to come on screen to introduce the venture that he's been mentoring, Spot App.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, judges, entrepreneurs, special guests, and attendees. My name is Elliott Atkins, and I've been fortunate to be a mentor at LaunchYU since the beginning, 4 years ago, I believe. And tonight it's my honor to introduce Darren Perlman, co-founder of Spot. It's been a privilege to work with the team. They've been flexible and pivoting and listening, and the last 5 months have been a joy. I've seen them grow and prosper as their innovative platform has launched on the App Store and Google Play, and has gained traction with employers, partners, and gig workers. Based on employer feedback, their strong pipeline, their experienced team, I'm confident that Spot will become a key platform in the gig economy. The Spot team is perfectly positioned to take advantage of this rapidly growing global opportunity. Darren, the screen is yours.
Awesome. Elliott, thank you very much for that intro. Althea, Snitha, Susan, thank you for being here tonight. My name is Darren Perlman. I'm the co-founder of Spot, and let me introduce our just-in-time hiring platform. The current process is broken for hiring low-wage workers. There is no good solution to find staff in high-turnover roles. Internally, companies spend $3,000 in time and lost productivity to fill a role. Factoring in turnover, this adds up to $20,000 over a year. Externally, staffing agencies will charge you $12,000 a year to fill that role, but you have no control over the quality of who they are sending. And workers are getting fed up. They're exiting the talent pool to work in the gig economy. The pickings are slim. I saw it firsthand when I managed 450 employees at my company G Machine, and it aggravated me every day of my life. So it got me thinking, what if I could handpick my own workers fast? What if I could access the best workers? What if everyone was reliable and showed up on time? Sounds simple, and that's because it is. We've seen how Uber, Tinder, and Airbnb disrupted broken systems. What if we took the best features from all these apps and used them to change the hiring marketplace forever? Picture it, Uber's efficiency in vetting with the matchmaking experience dating apps provide. So I quit my job 2 years ago and found a team to help me build it. Introducing Spot, We've changed the hiring process by giving employers easy access to the gig economy to manage their flexible workforce. Our on-demand marketplace removes the middleman, saving you valuable time and money, leveraging the benefits of mobile app technology. In Canada, there are 27,000 small to medium-sized businesses operating warehousing, logistics, and fulfillment centers. There are over 1,300 staffing agencies catering to these businesses, placing 400,000 workers each day. Their systems are archaic and they haven't kept up with technology. The industry is worth $3 billion in Canada, but south of the border, it's $36 billion. And this is a worldwide problem. It's obvious why it's a crowded marketplace, but we found the point of inflection to make a big splash. Early on, we saw the opportunity to help marginalized Canadians with our technology. Only 1/3 of our workforce has a high school diploma or less, and over 3 million working Canadians are living below the poverty line. We have partnered with over a dozen vocational service organizations to use our technology to find short-term opportunities while their clients look for long-term success. We are building a learning management system, think micro-certifications, upskilling classes, and same-day training modules to solidify us as a market leader, providing a mechanism to learn while you earn. In addition, this serves as a layer to help government initiatives to promote inclusive hiring opportunities. Spot will help businesses achieve corporate social responsibility goals by giving jobs to those most in need. COVID-19 has decimated the labor market. The economic forecast for 2021 is on everyone's mind. Unemployment is currently at 10.2%, and we don't know if 2021 will be a recession or a depression. And as unemployment increases, it's going to be the marginalized people who are the most vulnerable. Spot will be their safety net, finding them work and getting them paid within 48 hours. Our pricing is simple. Spot charges a markup of 20% on wages posted. That means on $14 an hour, final wages will be processed at $16.80. There is potential savings of almost $11,000 compared to what staffing agencies are charging right now. Customers say we could charge more, but we're going for a land grab and we're seeing the traction. 1 gig equates to $22 in net revenue each day. Our margin is over 60%. With a burn rate of $32,000 per month, 120 gigs, daily gigs will be our break even. Each of our customers are posting an average of 4 gigs per day right now. Since going live on the App Store last month, both App Stores last month, we have 3 customers posting 12 gigs per day. Next month, we have 4 customers on deck to go live. There are another 12 customers we signed up over the last 2 weeks waiting for their opportunity to go live by the end of the year. The market has spoken, we have the solution, and we are about to explode. Our team is led by people with over 15 years experience in staffing, government, and tech industries. We have a strong advisory team, some of whom include the former CFO of Walmart Canada and a board of director for Elizabeth Grant. We're in health tech, DMZ, and Y space. Today we are raising $500,000 in convertible debt. This money is needed to scale up tech, sales, and marketing to support the growing waitlist of customers. This will buy us 8 months of runway to profitability. In addition to this money, the money received today from LaunchYU will accelerate our goal of creating 50,000 social impact jobs over the next year. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Darren. That was fantastic. Now I'm just going to ask the judges to come back on one more time as we get our last set of questions out. So first, I'm going to go to Sneetha for her questions.
Awesome. Great presentation, Darren. A common challenge with marketplaces is how do you build up both sides very efficiently? So kudos to you for finding a really efficient way to get the employees on board. Like that's a great way to kind of build up that side. Would love to hear more about like what's been the journey to onboard employers onto the platform.
So we've taken a very interesting and unique approach. We've tapped into our network to bring on our first set of employers. And what we found is there've been a lot of referrals. Half of our customers that we signed up over the last 2 weeks have been referrals from our existing customers that are using the database right now. So they're liking it and they're referring us to more employers. We're also taking a top-down approach, talking to associations, one of which we signed up last week that has 42,000 members under their banner, and we will be doing pilot projects with them next month. Finally, the vocational service organizations that we are working with, we're building trust with them, putting their clients to work. They also have access to thousands of employers in each region that as we build that working relationship, we will get more referrals from them as well.
Yeah, awesome. And then one more question, and then I'll pass it on. You closed off with you're raising $500,000 right now, and you've said the use of funds. What are the milestones that'll trigger your next raise? Like, what will you need to have accomplished to have, you know, those seed stage investors interested and ready to invest?
So we need to build out our learning management system. We've coined it our personal growth hub, where we can do our upskilling classes, our micro certification, badges and accolades, training and onboarding. And it gets us very excited because we've done all the research. We have the project plan implemented. We just need to build the team to start building it. And, you know, yesterday, after watching the throne speech, the Liberal government is throwing $1.5 billion behind upskilling Canadians to put them in a position for employment. So we are on the mark. Once we get that system up and running, we also see it as another source of revenue because the employers that we've spoken to and shown them the plans for our personal growth hub, they see benefits for their existing employees to get access to it. And it will be one resource to help build a digital resume where all your certifications can be there, all of your experiences, all of your classes that you've taken. So to answer your question, you know, we're focused on building that next.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Next, we're going to go over to Susan.
I'm still kind of thinking over the idea in my head, so maybe you'll work through this with me. So I think you've got a two-pronged approach here. One is the problem that you talked about as an employer. Why can't I have decent people all the time? And on the other side, you talk about educating and training people so that they are, I don't know, more qualified and they can, and you know, and that's kind of like the social responsibility, inclusive part. Why do these go together? Like, what's it in it for the employer to do inclusive hiring?
It's on everybody's mind today. Inclusive hiring is really important in the marketplace because there are so many disadvantaged Canadians that just don't have a fair access to jobs. When you think about hiring, whether it's part-time or even full-time, because there is a commitment there, there's biases that go into an employer's mind as they do the hiring. Certain people are looked over, even in the resume stage, based off of their name or based off of what country they came from. But when we introduce the gig economy, there's no bias there because there's no commitment. It's a one-time opportunity, or rather short-term opportunities, that you can take a chance on somebody. And it doesn't matter what their name is, what country they came from, what religion they are. You give them a chance. And if it works out, maybe it's going to lead to full-time employment. And that's what we're trying to do. We want to make these introductions, inclusive hiring introductions, because that's how we'll make the marketplace fair, and that's how we'll give marginalized Canadians access to job opportunities.
I think this sounds really cool. And is this enough? And is this enough to really cross the, you know, get over the bar in terms of inclusiveness?
I think it is, because the partners that we are brought on through vocational service organizations, and also a lot of nonprofit organizations too, because another segment of the market that, you know, we've really been focused on is persons with disabilities. Anybody that's collecting ODSP, for example, they are disincentivized to go out to find work, because if they find a part-time job or a full-time job, they lose their government assistance. And for certain people, they can't commit to jobs because what if their disease doesn't allow them to? What if they're in remission but it comes back? What if they're just having a bad week and they can't go to work? The gig economy is the best forum for them to still participate in the labor market and be a productive member of society. And we've talked to employers where there are certain jobs that, you know, could be accessible to anybody, doesn't matter what their condition is, what their disability is. And if we can do this partnership and make it accessible to those people, they will have the opportunity to participate, and they don't have to commit long term. They can just turn on the app when they're feeling good and they want to work the next day. And anybody that's on ODSP, it's not enough money. It's a lifestyle that's below the poverty line, so they need access to the gig economy. And this is what we're trying to do. The world is watching us here because the gig economy has a bad reputation out there. And we have the opportunity here in Canada to redefine it as the socio-gig economy, really bringing back protections to those people and benefiting them. And if we do it right, the technology that we've built here in Canada can be scaled to any country, any jurisdiction in the world, and help marginalized people all across the world.
That's great. Thank you.
Perfect. So now we're going to go to Altea for her questions.
Hey, Darren, great job. Quickly on the ODSP comment, if you haven't already looked at another company in Toronto called Fable, sounds like you two would have a lot of synergies there. Happy to chat with you offline about it. My question, as you were going through your deck, I got really excited when you got to the TAM slide and you started talking about 27,000 warehouses and fulfillment centers. You're in a busy space, and so I was trying to understand exactly what type of business you're targeting. But then I got a little confused when you got to the customer slide and you had customers like Fresh City Farms on there. So help me understand a little bit more about the type of business that would be a perfect fit with your company.
So, our point of inflection, because this platform is going to grow as we bring on more customers and are able to, with our personal growth hub, validate credentials and fill certain skilled roles. But right now, we're really focused on the unskilled minimum wage labor. So a big part of the business right now is the 3PLs and fulfillment centers. Think e-commerce orders. With Fresh City Farms, they have groceries that they have to pick and pack and get onto the trucks. And really, it doesn't require a lot of training. People can come in with no experience and they get them up and running in 5 to 10 minutes, that they're able to work the day, fulfill orders. And it's exactly what the company needs, because these positions have very high turnover. It's minimum wage, you're on your feet for the entire day. Nobody wants to do it the rest of their life. It's a means to an end. But we're finding that utilizing the gig economy to fulfill these roles, people are happy to do it because they know that they're getting paid afterwards. We've been paying everybody within 48 hours. Makes them happy, they get access to the cash, and then they'll come work again when they need to. So that is our target right now. And it seems to be working. There's lots of people that are in need of tremendous temp labor, especially with what's been happening with COVID. Online orders have been exploding and they can't keep up in their warehouses.
Yeah, massive opportunity. I like the thesis. Great job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, everyone. That's going to be the end of the time that we have. Thank you so much, Darren. Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
So that comes to the end of the presentations for tonight and all the Q&A. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. And now our three judges are going to go away privately and going to deliberate on who they believe are winners, our top three winners for today. So just a quick reminder, just to refresh everyone's memory on how the prize is going to work. So our third place winner will receive $10,000 cash prize from York University. Our second place winner will also receive $10,000 cash prize from York University. Our first place winner will receive $10,000 cash prize from York University, as well as be the recipient of the Aird Berlis StartupSource Market Entry Award. This is the fourth year of our partnership with Aird Berlis, and we are so grateful to Randy and Aird Berlis for sponsoring this award. The startup, in addition to the $10,000 that I just mentioned, will also receive $12,500 in cash and $12,500 in legal services from Aird Berlis. So thank you so much to our sponsors at Aird Berlis.
I'm just going to ask our team to come on stage, and we're going to start answering some of the questions. Can I just get the 5 startups to join me on stage? Perfect. Spencer, Viraj. Just waiting for Viraj over there. Oh, perfect. We got everyone. Awesome. So now we're going to start answering some of the questions that we had. I know throughout the session, there was a ton of people asking questions in the Q&A. Some of them were answered live. Some of them we still haven't answered. So we're going to go back now and answer some of those. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, please submit your questions in the comments, and then they'll be fed to me. And then I will ask our StartupSource questions. But let's jump right into it. So our first question, I see you guys have typed out answers to Galen's, but just because I'm not sure everyone was able to see the typed up responses, if it's okay, Spencer, with you, I'm going to ask Galen's question to you again. So what would the 500K if raised funds be used for?
Yeah, so first off, hire our CTO full time, and along with our head of sales. Unfortunately, they both have to work part-time gigs currently, and get this much progress with them so far. So I can only imagine what we could do if we get them full time. Professional fees, legal fees, design fees, and marketing fees, just because we do want to get better marketing literature for the B2B sales, because we do know that that goes a long way. Both myself and obviously our head of sales have a lot of experience in sales. So we want to use what we know works best. And lastly, any unexpected server costs. We are working with unbelievably great backend developers, but once we start scaling, we are going to need to optimize certain things. And so we might get some unexpected costs in the early stage of ramping up. So just to kind of cover our butts there, but we don't expect that to be, the bulk of the money by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, they're just the case, if you will.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Spencer. Next one I'm going to go over is Viraj. It was a question that you answered earlier, but I'm just going to get you to repeat it for everyone else that's listening. So Alex had a question. What countries does it cover?
Yeah, so we already have an issued patent in Canada. We have patents pending in the US, Japan, and the EU. So pending just means that we are confident we will have issued patents in those jurisdictions in the coming months. That's for our foundational IP. As we move forward to inhaled versions and oral versions and multiple versions of those, that will no question lead to even more intellectual property than what we have now. We will have an intellectual property estate.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Viraj. And next we have Judy, who's asking a question to Darren. Can you talk about the micro-credentials and the upskilling and how you would charge for this service? How would your upskilling programs compare with other educational institutions?
Leave it to Judy to ask the million-dollar question. Great question. So micro certifications, I mean, you can fit them into two buckets. You have your regulated certificates and your unregulated ones, or sorry, regulated credentials, unregulated credentials. For the regulated ones, think driver's license, forklift truck license. We'd have to have a mechanism where you take a picture of that certification. We'd be able to verify it against records and databases. The unregulated market is the exciting one because there's no one that is certifying that you could lift 40 pounds right now unless you flash your gym card membership. We see huge potential in areas like that where we can start doing the training and certification of those credentials. How will we charge for it? So with our vocational service organizations, it would be free to all of their clients to help build their resume. For our employers, we see a SaaS-based model that they would buy a subscription and their employees can start building their digital resume.
Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to jump into so I mean, this is a question more so overall. I guess if I'm just going to go with someone. So the question is around lack of diversity on the kind of the finalists. But I'd be curious to hear from each of you. I know we've had different levels of conversation around diversity on your teams, and each one of you. I'm wondering if one of you wants to take the question of what is your take on diversity and how are you implementing it within your own companies. If that's okay. Actually, if it's okay, Mark, I'm going to go to you because I know you had a in-depth discussion with Eva Wong around that. So if it's okay, I'm gonna go to you, Mark.
Yeah, that's fair. So my co-founder and myself, we are two male, and we've hired 2 full-time employees. So we're currently 4 at the team. There's some diversity in terms of background and ethnicities, but I realized firsthand that it's kind of challenging to build diversity unless you put it as a priority. So for us, we I've decided to put gender parity as one of our top HR priorities, and we want to achieve gender parity before we reach, or our objectives when we'll reach between 10 and 15 employees. And we've already started on that front. As you mentioned, I've had a few discussions and with some mentors on that front. And we are currently in discussion with 2 candidates to join our team. And I cannot wait to announce the successful candidate, and I think it's going to bring a lot of value to our company.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. And I think just to touch on that a little bit, you know, tonight we had our top 5, which was selected by a panel of judges, and we try to keep it external so that it's fair to the competition side of it itself. But you know, throughout the program, we had multiple female founders. So I'm thinking Backer, Muse, Requity Homes, Vital Home Care. We had multiple kind of female founders or even co-founders on the team, and they were very strong, very successful. Just unfortunately, we had to pick 5 for tonight, but I would have loved to showcase the rest of them as well. But that's great. I don't see any other questions here. But maybe what we'll do is it looks like the judges are ready. Actually, it looks like the judges are ready. So I think what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna bring everyone back. So startups, if I can just ask you to turn off your screens for now. Perfect. And I just want to thank you to all the audience members for all of your questions. And what we're going to do right now is actually we're just going to launch our Audience Choice Award. So this is just an award that we're going to allow everyone that's attending via the Zoom that we have invited over to kind of select. If you're on Facebook, please comment on who your favorite was, and that's how we'll kind of add it up. But I'll give everyone about a minute to select who their favorite was for the day. See them coming in. Try to hit as high as we can. Wow, it looks like someone's walking away with it. It's kind of fun to watch it on my end and not have anyone be able to see it. But we're getting there. Okay. Okay, so we'll give a couple more seconds just for a couple more folks to kind of cast their last minute votes in, and we'll close it off. All right, looks like everyone's got their votes in, so I'm gonna close it off. It looks like the winner for tonight is Spot. So Darren, congratulations. You are the award, People's Choice Award, the Audience Choice Award for tonight. So I don't know if you want to jump on, say a few quick words about being the audience choice.
Yeah, no, awesome. Like I wasn't expecting that. Really stiff competition, so it really means a lot. This whole experience has just been amazing validation that we're on the right path, and we're so excited with what we're doing. So thank you for driving us that little bit more, because we got a lot of work to do in the morning. Thank you.
Awesome. It must be the hair. You look slick, nice and clean today. But next we're gonna go over, so our final results are in. We're really excited to announce the top 3 that we have. So I'm gonna welcome back Sarah Howe, our AVP of Innovation and Research Partnerships, to come back on the screen and start the announcements of the top 3.
I should not be a presenter. I was just saying that that was fabulous. I have seen many LaunchYU graduations, many demo days, but that really hit the mark. I want to congratulate all of the entrepreneurs. You were so poised, and you really told your story, and I just loved it. So congratulations to all of you. Whether or not you're a winner, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of you around. All right, so I have the great privilege of announcing the 3rd place winner now. So without further ado, and do bear with me because I've got a lot of moving parts here. This isn't going to be pretty. Without further ado, I would like to congratulate Spot App on their 3rd place win. Congratulations, guys. I don't know how this is working. Here we go. All right. I am going to turn my camera at your check. And maybe while I do this, you can come online and say a few words.
Yeah, awesome.
Go ahead, Daniel.
All right.
I've been hogging the mic tonight.
Awesome. Just want to quickly thank York University, LaunchYU, Mick, David, and Diana, and all the LaunchYU coaches. A quick shout out to our mentor, Elliott, who drove us to succeed from day one. Shout out to all the LaunchYU participants. every company who helped foster an environment where we're able to support each other. And a final thank you to all the family and friends who supported us through the many, many tireless nights. So thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, special thanks to Elliott Atkins. He was just awesome throughout this whole process. Those weekly check-ins really kept us on pace. And of course, you know, Mick in the last 2 weeks has been incredible. And thank you to David and Diana as well. I know Daniel thanked everyone. I got to do it as well.
You got Mick.
Oh no, I got Mick.
Okay.
Awesome. Congratulations again, Spot Up. All right, a little bit of drum roll. I now get to announce the second place winner. Please join me in doing a little happy dance for Lata. Congratulations. Raj, why don't you say a few words?
Sure, thank you. That's really exciting. I take this as a sign of my hard work and really very much about the incredible LaunchYU community. I won't name any names because then I'll forget some and I'll feel bad. But I've learned a lot from them. And I'm so glad to be in the cohort that's here tonight, but the entire LaunchYU cohort as well. So I'm really excited to take this and use this to keep getting us closer to that day when the patient experience is actually changed for the better. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Congratulations to you both. All righty. Now, before we announce the grand winner, I do want to take a moment again to thank our title sponsor, Randy Williamson and the StartupSource team from Aird Berlis. Randy is a member of the York University Board of Governors, and he's also a partner at Aird Berlis. Over the course of the last few years, he's been such a huge supporter of the work we do at Innovation York. So it's been great to have him on our team. And I have to say, I don't think there is anyone on this planet that loves York University more. So it is my pleasure to invite Randy to the screen to give his remarks and to announce our grand prize winner.
Thanks, Sarah. And just before I say what I'm going to say, I would like to invite both Raj and Darren to come back on screen and help us celebrate the winner. As Sarah mentioned, I am a proud alum of York University. I wouldn't say necessarily that I love the university more than thousands of others, but I do love York University and have for a very long time. I am a senior partner here at Aird Berlis. I focus on the needs of companies and their owners typically. Companies as does our whole firm. We provide legal and business advisory services to companies and investors and owners at every stage of their development. We have been delighted to help support the development of dozens of startups that have come through the various LaunchYU programs over the last few years. Each year, I would say, and I feel confident in saying, that the cohort is getting stronger and stronger. And although the Aird Berlis StartupSource Market Entry Award is intended to acknowledge that at least one of these companies is ready to attack its chosen market, I think it's fair to say that I don't doubt that all 5 of tonight's presenting companies will successfully attack each of their chosen markets. But there can only be one winner of tonight's award. As David said, we will be providing the selected company with $12,500 of cash funding, as well as $12,500 of legal services of the sort that companies at this stage tend to need. And when you combine that with Innovation York's $10,000 prize, that makes the total value of this award tonight to the winning company $35,000. So I think that's great. I'm really tickled that we've been involved with this for the last several years, and hope we may be for many years to come. But I'm also really especially pleased to announce that this year's Aird Berlis StartupSource Market Entry Award winner is Gopir. So if I can ask Mark to please come on, please help me clap and celebrate Gopir. Congratulations, Mark.
That's amazing. Thank you.
It is amazing. It's wonderful to see you. It was great to listen to your presentation. I think the questions were driven right at the heart of your business approach, and I suspect that the mentoring you've been receiving so far and the continuing advice and support you're going to get from all those around you will allow you guys to enter your market soon and to succeed as you do so. As you might want to say something, I'm going to actually write this check and then I'm going to show it up on screen to let everybody take a look. So go ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Randy. Thank you for everyone in the LaunchYU team, to Mick, David, Diana. As Randy mentioned, we're extremely well surrounded, and that's how we've been able to grow in the last several months. Our mentor, Kate, is amazing. She's been continuously helping us every week and providing invaluable insights. And also the team at Gopir is incredible. Actually, Chris, Connor, and my co-founder, Joseph, they're just amazing. So thank you so much for the recognition tonight. And we'll certainly use those funds to help execute on our vision to promote financial wellness.
Thanks so much, Mark. We look forward to working with you in the days, months, and years to come.
Oh, we certainly have very extensive legal needs, so I look forward to that partnership as well.
We like hearing that. Anyway, I'm going to turn it. I'm going to ask the other two finalists to turn off their screens and mute their mics, and I think I'm going to ask David back to the screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Randy. Congratulations to the winner. Congratulations, Darren, Viraj, and big congratulations to you, Mark, for all the hard work. And thank you, Randy, for all the generous support that you've been giving to our team as a university and the team at LaunchYU. We can't do what we do without your support and your team's support over there at Aird Berlis. So thank you so much for everything you do for us. I think, to wrap up the night, we're kind of getting towards the end of the night here. There's a couple special thank yous that I want to give, and of course I want to recognize as well. So I want to definitely recognize and say that Mick, Diana, and I are so proud of all 14 companies. I know we've had 5 present tonight. We have 3 winners, but truly all 14 of you have done an amazing job this past summer in growing both personally and professionally. So we're super proud of the group that we got this summer and the amazing things that you've done. Secondly, thank you again to our award sponsor, Aird Berlis, who held multiple office hours. Graham was fantastic. When we gave him a call, we said, we need this workshop, and he was able to deliver within weeks. He was very responsive in delivering a term sheet workshop for our group, which was fantastic for the session that they were about to go through. And also thank you to all the investors and all the partners and friends and family that was able to join us tonight and supporting our companies. The entrepreneurship journey can be very lonely. So over the past 4 months, I know the family support and everything else has been fantastic, and it's really given them a big lift. I would also like to thank Melanie, Ben, and the alumni engagement team for helping us set everything up tonight. Thank you so much for all the back end work that you do to help us make sure tonight went as smooth as it did. So thank you so much for all that. And thank you to our judges, our 3 judges, Snitha, Altea, Susan, for all the work. I'm sure that decision cannot be easy. I don't know what happened in that room in the last 20 minutes, but I'm sure it was a very difficult decision. So thank you for joining us tonight and spending your night with us and helping us pick our final 3. And lastly, I'm going to say I want to bring Mick and Diana on screen, because those are 2 faces you have not seen all night, but they've put in so much time and effort. Diana has been on the back end, making sure everything's going well, making sure that everything doesn't go off without a hitch. So big kudos to Diana for everything she's done to make sure we're here today. And the beautiful graphic, you see the image behind me, Diana made that. And then Mick, I think all the startups can kind of attest to the amount of time he puts in as an advisor and working with the companies. I know I've been seeing calendar invites for 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So thank you so much, Mick, for all the time you put in, and the progress we've seen the companies have in the last 2 weeks is fantastic. And both of you have really put the founders first, which is very important for us as we grow this program. And before we wrap it up, I just want to invite all the panelists, all the judges, all the startups and Sarah and Randy on screen, so we can quickly do a picture and just a screen grab of everyone here. So I'm going to ask everyone to come on screen, and Diana, if you can just grab that picture for us, all our mentors. Perfect. We can just, I think this might be a couple more. All right. Diana, let us know when it's good.
Just a couple more.
Diana, why aren't you in it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too.
I will be in it and I will multitask. Okay, I think we got it.
Awesome. And of course, thank you, Navin. Thank you, Kate, for sticking out the night and being here and being amazing mentors to the companies over the last 4 months. I know the work that you put in has been fantastic as well. I think I got everyone. If I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. But just to wrap up the night, thank you so much, everyone, for the ones who have attended. If you want more, if you want to connect with our companies, please reach out to us at LaunchYU at YorkU.ca. We're happy to connect you with our companies for more in-depth conversations, for deeper conversations. If there's anything else, please let us know. Once again, thank you, everyone, and have a good night.